Okay, today I'm going to use this drawing, these notes, and these lines on the floor to get this ductwork, plus the ductwork that's out there, up onto the ceiling. I also need to get a short piece of duct from here to right out here somewhere, which I'll figure out on the ground right here. And 777Y that will go up to the ductwork that I'm going to be assembling first over here. It all seems a little bit complicated because in 3 dimensions we have one set of ductwork at that level right there for the intake, and then this other stuff, the run right here, is going to be just about 4 inches below the ceiling, and with any luck it'll go right over those lights right there and miss this drop right here, this electrical drop. But that remains to be seen. I can move either one of those around because those are just held up by magnets. This is solid mounted. So to start off, I have the dimensions between these 2 sections. So what I need to do is cut 2 chunks of pipe, get it all assembled together, and get this connected. And then I need to figure out how to get that up to the ceiling. And the same with this. I'm working alone, so it won't be hard to get everything connected on the ground here, but getting it up and hooked up to the collector and hung from the ceiling, that part is going to be a little more difficult. And I have my new parts from Oneida, and that's like 3 elbows. I got the big flex hose to come from here down to the barrel, which is not done yet. This will probably take 3 days in total, but for this part I have maybe 4 or 5 hours today and the same thing tomorrow. So hopefully I can get a bunch of stuff done. Okay, I have this piece right here done, and let me get you caught up on that. I have 3 rivets in each joint, and the long seams I taped with aluminum tape, aluminum foil tape. This stuff works incredibly good, but it's insanely hard to get off, and if I have to redo anything, I don't want to mess with it like I am with those. Those have been taped up for 20 years now, and it's really hard to get the pieces apart. And if I screw anything up, I want to be able to change it around. I probably didn't have to put this on this joint. I probably could have used the same tape on this, because if I ever reuse any of this duct, I can just use it as is. I don't have to pull any of it apart. But if I want to use the Ys anywhere else, I'm going to have to take them off the pipe. Probably I may be able to cut the pipe right here and use the joint where it's at. Who knows? Hopefully this is going to go up and just stay where it's at. Okay, rivets. This is the bottom right here. The dust is going to come up and go in, and it'll bounce around along the bottom. So I don't have any rivets right at the bottom. They're at an angle, like right here, and then one a little bit offset from the joint, because if you do it right on the joint, it's really hard to do. So it's offset from the joint at the top somewhere. But that's it. Oh, and I got it aligned, as you've seen. I just did it by eye, and that should be plenty good enough. Now to hang this, I had thought that maybe I would put some magnets up there and put a loop of string and just set it in that. But this weighs maybe 10 pounds. And I believe that light right there was like 8 pounds. It's at least as heavy as that light. And I tried hanging that with just the magnet onto the tin, and it was not going to work. So I had to put some washers above the tin to give it more metal to grip to. So what I'm going to do, I think I'll just put loops of rope on my hooks here, that one, and then slide it up through, and then lift it up using the rope, tighten the rope up, and get it to about where it's going to go, and then start messing with the metal straps that are going to hold it. And we'll see about all this stuff right here. Hopefully I'll have enough time today to get to this chunk right here. But like I said, this could take 3, maybe 4 days just to get this run done. And this run will go from here over to there somewhere. That's the main trunk that'll come out here. And then it goes up to the ceiling up there, but it has a drop here, 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 and there. So it could take a little while. A lot of time is going to be spent hanging this and then further running duct once it's up in the air. Okay, let's get something in place and hoist this up there. Let me show you my string set up here. We just have a regular old piece of string. This is fairly heavy duty stuff though, but it goes up through the mount hook and is tied back to itself with a regular old knot. And then there's a regular old knot at the very end to keep it from sliding off. And then this is adjustable all the way down here, and I can tighten it all the way up to the top if I want. So now I'm going to adjust it so that it's just above the light here, and I'll leave that one all the way open, and we'll get that duct up onto here. And I think, yeah, I have enough room to slide that end through that loop, push it all the way this way, and then push it back through this. Won't be easy, but let's do it. You would think with all of these dimensions and drawings and stuff, you would have everything you need, but I didn't. I had to go get it off the computer. This dimension right here from this Y to the edge of this 765 drop is 59 and 13/16. So we have a flange on the end of that, a crimped flange, which is 1.5 inches. So when you subtract that, it would become 58 and 5/16. And I marked that on the ground, and I just got this string and the plumb bob in place. It's not correct yet. I'm going to have to move it just a bit that way, but I'll have to do that in the morning because something came up. So I will see you in the morning. Okay, got that unpacked. We have 3 7-inch elbows. 2 of them will be used to get the main duct up to the ceiling going this way, but we're not going to be doing that today. And the last one will connect to that up there and go downwards to this Y right here, which I also just got from Oneida. This is a 777Y, and like I said, this is going to be going like this up to the run here, and then this will go right here and will drop down for the table saw. So I need a 52 3/4 inch piece of duct. I got to get that out of here, but first I have 1/8 inch stainless steel braided wire and these gripples. I used to have a vineyard, so I got a lot of stuff for wire. These gripples, it's just going to be looped around, and the gripple will hold it together. I actually have a gripple tool across the street that I got to go run and get, and you can use that to click, 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 and get it to the exact height, which is what I need to do right now. So I'm going to get 2 loops on there with the gripples and then raise it up. I'm going to take that magnetic torpedo level there, that right there, and I'm going to turn it that way and get it level and then measure up to the ceiling. I got an exact measurement up to the ceiling that this needs to be. I'll get this whole thing nice and level, and once that's done, then I can mess with it, and it's going to be up there real nice and tight. Well, not tight, but strong. Okay, let's get a couple loops and get that ready and go get this fixed in place. Okay, I have my wire in place with the gripples on, and I need to get those tightened. Hopefully I don't need them loosened because I can't find my gripple tool. There's a little metal tool that goes into a hole right here, and you can loosen them up with that. Otherwise, you cannot loosen these. This is the gripple tool, but I don't think I'm going to be able to use it here. These fit in like that. Like this is already on the wire. You'd have a wire coming through and gripped by that, and you can tighten 2 pieces of wire up really, really tight with this. But again, I think it's too big to fit up there. This fits on your belt, and it has a string. This is where that tool should be. It should be right on there, but it's not. So we're gonna have to go easy and do this manually. And to do it manually, you just grab a hold of the gripple and pull the wire through with a pliers or something. So we'll grab a pliers, and I should probably show you this too. I had figured out the size of these loops, 25 inches on the 6-inch pipe That's the 6-inch pipe. I just cut that 3 feet long. I'm gonna cut it to length once I get everything adjusted, and then retape the ends. And this loop right here is for the main trunk over there. And I have it written down somewhere. This is 28 13/16 from the center line up to the ceiling, and it's somewhere on here. There it is. 3 13/16 from the top of this to the ceiling. So, like I said, we're going to turn that magnetic level and get that level going this way, and then measure from the bottom of that up to the ceiling and adjust this, get it level going this way and get it at the right height, and then we'll continue and start working on this stuff. All right, let me show you this real quick before I take it down. We're dead level, and I went up a little higher so that I could clear the light a little better. It clears it at the height I had chosen, but that was just an arbitrary number when I was designing this on the computer. It makes no difference if it's higher or lower, and I want it to be as high as possible right in this area, because I'll be flipping boards end on end when I'm jointing and planing and stuff. So that is exactly where it needs to be. Now I need to get this assembled and cut and start putting together this trunk right here. After 45 minutes of struggle, I finally got this fitting on. For some reason, this fitting just did not want to go on, but it's on there now, and I'm going to fix this in place right away and get the seam taped. And this fitting goes on the end here. Yeah, I do need to get that on right away. I don't want to be messing with that up in the air. And once this thing is fully assembled like that, I need to get a loop coming down here. Well, I got to get my eye bolt in there, put a loop coming down here, and then I'll put this into the collector loosely. I'm going to have to be able to move it around, and then I have a straight pipe going up and an elbow connecting to that. Yeah, with the amount of messing around that I had to do on this has me scared. Okay, let's get this piece on there real quick and we'll get back at it. I put the camera down and then put this up there and used 2 hands and just tried it a little bit, and it went right on. So I'll have to adjust this in the air. We'll get this fixed like I said, and we're off to the races. Okay, I'm all ready to go. This fitting right here is loose. It's just taped in there so it doesn't fall out. And this is all riveted and taped and ready to go. Hopefully I don't have any problems getting that end into the collector. I got my loop in place, and yeah, that should do it. Let's get up there and try to get this in place. Okay, that went in real easy. The next pieces that go in are an elbow bent to 45, and I'll get that in place and then aim it at this end right here, And then hopefully, if everything is designed right, it should be dead in line with this. Then all I'll need to do is measure the piece that goes in between and get that all fitted together. And I'll have to do all of the riveting and taping and stuff up in the air there. So with any luck, I have a hard deadline today. I have about 3 more hours to work on this, and I'm hoping to get at least these 2 pieces in, but who knows? It took so long to get that Y onto that pipe. I hope I don't run into any more of that stuff here. So let's get started by putting one of these 7-inch elbows, bend it to 45, and get it on the end of there. Just came back from lunch and I saw this from this angle for the first time, and it looks like those 2 line up really nice. So I grabbed one of the 7-inch elbows, got it bent up, and it went on there really nice. And the measurement between the end there and that end over there is 34.5 with the flanges. And I had this piece laying around, and that's only 32 inches, so I'm gonna have to use this. This was cut and crimped for my old system, and it never got installed. We moved right in the middle of installing all this stuff, and I cut this. This was my first attempt at cutting this stuff, and I used a tin snips, and that's the kind of cut you get. So I abandoned that and started doing it the way you've seen earlier. So it looks like 20 years later, I'm gonna have to get back to this. So what I'm gonna do is just cut this part off and then pop this together and then cut it to the right length, and then go find my crimpers and crimp it like this, and we'll try to get this thing together. Okay, that went in way easier than I thought it was going to. That is beautiful. So I'm gonna play around with it a bit and then fasten this joint, and then I need to get this pushed in a little bit better, and I can probably do that joint as well, but I don't know if I dare do it yet, because I may need to twist the whole thing to get this elbow as good as it's gonna go. Let me go up there and play around with this a little bit. All I did was shove it in place. I'll play around with it a little bit, try to get it perfect, and then we'll start fastening these joints. But I do believe I need to start with this joint right here. It needs a smidge of tweaking. I think it needs to turn up just a bit, and then we'll get that fastened, and possibly, I don't know. See, you want them gores to be able to turn, so you can adjust that. And then this needs to be fastened probably next. I don't know. Let me go play with it a little bit, and I'll get back with you in just a second. Okay, so here's what I did. I tried to get everything aligned loose like that, and it just was not working. This joint in particular kept coming apart, and you couldn't really align it with the joints coming apart like that. So I got this joint aligned as good as I could. Well, it's perfect. And then I put a rivet through it. Then, as an assembly, I wiggled it around until I got it nice and tight on the pipe up here on that Y, and I put a rivet in there. Then I could move this around nice and freely, and I got a rivet in there. Then I could mess with this joint. I kept coming up and down the ladder and looking to see that it was straight, and then I finally put a rivet in there. Now I'm going to be putting a rivet over there, but I'm going to go up and play around with it a bit and get it exactly where I want it. Then I'll get it riveted there and then start putting more rivets in it. Actually, I think, yeah, I'm going to get this joint exactly where I want it and put another rivet in there first. Then I'll start messing around over by the collector. I'm going to have 3 rivets in each joint. You need at least 3, otherwise it's going to rock. And then once I have everything riveted, then I can go to this one and make sure that it's pointing down towards the ground and get that one riveted. And then these gores on this elbow right here, I could play around with those a little bit. They're probably a hair off, not that it's going to make much of a difference at all. And then once I get those where I want them, I got to start doing all the taping. I'm not sure if I ordered it yet or not, but I have a 7-inch plug for this end, and I have blast gates for all the drops and stuff already, so it's not going to be too long before I have a functioning system. All right, let me get that rivet in there and we'll see how it looks. We are nearly done for the day. And there you have it. That's what I wanted to get done in this video, and I really wasn't sure that it was going to happen or not. And I'm right at my time limit, so everything worked out as good as it could. I have 3 rivets in every one of the joints. I still need to adjust these gores, which is a real easy thing, but I just don't have time to do it right now. You could see that it kind of goes a little crooked there. All you got to do is turn those gores a little bit and adjust that to where you want it. And then I need to go and tape the seam coming down here, I believe. Oh, maybe I taped that already. I don't think so though. I got to tape the seam and then put the stretch tape on the other seams and tape up all those gores. You got to tape each individual one or you'll get leaks there. And I got to tape this one as well. I got to get that cap, make sure that I ordered it. And then in the next video, I believe I'm going to be coming off this end right here. and going over to an elbow, coming over another 2 elbows, and coming down the wall to about right here. That's going to be a difficult task, and that's probably going to be an entire video as well. I have to make the wall brackets and all that stuff. And then the video after that will probably be the drops for the machines. So after that drop, which will be for the miter saw, I'll have one for the jointer, one for the planer, and one for the table saw here. And then we're going to switch back to the air compressor. I still don't have the cap for that end. This is the 3rd time I've ordered those, and twice they were lost in the mail. Only one time was successful, and that's a cap on that end. So when that stuff gets here, I'm going to move the compressor back over there, get that wired. Oh, I'll probably do a short video on this. I was going to do that today. I got to get the dust collector plugged in and try it out. This thing hasn't been started in, I believe it's 21 years. It's been sitting in an unheated garage or unheated storage ever since I tore down that shop, and I haven't started it up yet. So I'll do that in a short. We'll just plug it in, turn it on, and see how it runs. Okay, I gotta get out of here. Stay tuned for the miter saw run and drop.